What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the Dark Reign period of Marvel Comics, where Norman Osborn was the leader of protecting America, which was a bad idea. But this time, we're going to pick up with Spider-Man, Norman Osborn arch nemesis. Now, this is known as Spider-Man the American Son storyline. And I'm going to tell you right now that this storyline is really messed up. Oh lordy. But if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. So the opening of this book reminds us that Harry Osborn is back in Marvel Comics. It is something to be spoken about since he did die back in the 1980s. Thanks to One More Day, it of course brought him back to life. Either way, we are seeing a moment that shows how close Harry Osborn and Peter Parker are, to the point you have Harry Osborn even trying to help Peter Parker out with getting someone to date, since Peter Parker is kind of single at the moment. We also get reminded that Harry Osborn hates Norman Osborn, his father, and we learn this when Norman Osborn and his Dark Avengers are coming home from another one of their missions. We can see that there is a lot of hate between them. After that, we see Peter Parker go to the front line, a smaller but more grounded version of the Daily Bugle. Of course, this is the moment you have Peter Parker talk about how they should focus on publishing more things about how Norman Osborn is someone who should not be trusted. Honestly, he does have people on his side on this topic, and even the person in charge, Ben Urich. Except you have Ben tell Peter that even though he agrees on what Peter is saying, they need hard proof first. He will not publish anything without any proof to support their statement. So Peter's goal is to find some hard proof to bring down Norman Osborn. Then we see Wolverine meeting up with Spider-Man. It is a nice moment because this is Wolverine being a good friend to Spider-Man. To Spider-Man, he thinks back to all of the times he could have permanently stopped Norman Osborn. Of course, talking about killing him. But you have Wolverine kind of agreeing on getting rid of Norman. He wants Spider-Man to think about it first, since Spider-Man is not a killer. Now, the big moment of this chapter comes up when you have Peter Parker, Aunt May, Harry Osborn, and J. Jonah Jameson Sr. meeting up at J. Jonah Jameson Jr.'s mansion. Because at this point, you have J. Jonah Jameson Jr. as the mayor of New York. Also because this is the dinner to celebrate the soon-to-be married couple, Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson Sr. This dinner is going well until that is when Norman Osborn arrives, and remember that Norman Osborn has caused issues for everyone here at the dinner except J. Jonah Jameson Jr., who invited him because he is the mayor and trying to build bonds with powerful people across the nation. Norman Osborn is that person since he is the leader of defense for America now. He doesn't stay because no one wants him there, but before he leaves, he asks Harry Osborn to work with him and the Avengers, claiming that everything is different now and wants to share the success with his son. Of course, Harry knows that his father is still evil and says no and leaves. Later that night, you have Harry go back to his apartment where he thinks he is finally going to have some time to relax. except that is when he is greeted by Menace. Now Menace's real name is Lily Hollister. She was the ex-fiancée to Harry Osborn at this point in Marvel Comics. She took the Goblin Serum, which of course turned her into a Goblin character, of course named Menace. Either way, after she was turned into a Goblin, she was stopped by Spider-Man. Harry has not seen her in a minute, and now she is back telling him she has something important to tell him. She turns back into her human form, and before we can see what it is, well, the story changes settings. We then switch over to Norman Osborn, and we see him in his limo minding his business, thinking that he's about to have a normal day. Except that is when Spider-Man rips off the roof of the limo and grabs Norman Osborn, which leads into him throwing Norman Osborn around and demanding him to leave Harry Osborn alone. Now, Norman Osborn does not remember that Peter Parker is Spider-Man at this point in Marvel Comics. So he is wondering why in the world Spider-Man is so concerned for Harry Osborn. For Spider-Man, it doesn't matter. He needs to leave Harry alone, which sadly, that is when Harry calls up Norman Osborn to tell him that he will take up on the Norman Osborn offer, which to Spider-Man is shocking. The question is, why did Harry Osborn decide to take up his dad's offer? The last page shows us that Lily Hollister is pregnant with the child of Harry Osborn, of course meaning that this is the reason why Harry is joining up with his father. The next chapter, we see Harry and Peter having a conversation about Harry joining Norman Osborn in the Avengers, since it is now being played all over the news. This is Peter being a good friend to Harry. He is worried about his friend because everything Norman touches gets ruined. So Peter is wondering what is going on with Harry, but Harry does not want to tell Peter about the fact that Lily is back and she is pregnant. Instead, he wants to handle all of this on his own and tells Peter to mind his business for the sake of saving everyone. We do get a page where we see Norman Osborn greeting Harry Osborn at Avengers Tower. Right off the bat, you have Harry asking Norman about getting access to restricted levels, and Norman quickly tells Harry he needs to calm down before trying to rush things. After that, you have Harry find out that he has to get vaccinated because he has level 3 clearance. At first, you have Harry say no because remember that Harry had a drug addiction before and he is sober now. So this is a scary moment for him. But of course, Harry says yes when Norman confirms everything is going to be okay. Now you have Peter thinking about stopping by Avengers Tower, hoping to get close to Norman Osborn, except he runs into Noah Winters, this annoying character who works with him at Frontline. Well, she tells Peter that she was able to get a job in Avengers Tower, hoping to get close to Norman somehow and gather information about Norman Osborn to get thrown in the paper to hopefully bring him down. Peter likes the idea, but hates to see Nora Winter there because he's afraid of her getting hurt. Sadly, she thinks he is just saying that because it is too dangerous for a woman. In reality, it is because Norman Osborn is a dangerous man. Now, Peter Parker is tired of waiting around to do something about Norman Osborn. So we see Bullseye and Venom, who are pretending to be Hawkeye and Spider-Man for the Dark Avengers, where we see Venom goes around and apparently eats people, and Bullseye keeps an eye out for him, making sure he does not get caught or anything. Except Bullseye is doing a bad job keeping an eye out for Venom, because out of nowhere you have Spider-Man appear and begin the process of beating down on Venom. And you would think that Bullseye would hear Venom getting his butt kicked by Spider-Man, except he can't. The reason why is because the Invisible Woman had put a force field around Venom and Spider-Man so that Bullseye won't hear. Also, something to remember, this is not Eddie Brock Venom. This is Matt Gargan venom. Matt Gargan used to be the Scorpion. Either way, this is Spider-Man knocking out Venom, locking him up in some form of prison they had made for Venom, so that Spider-Man can go and pretend to be Venom so he can get into the Avengers Tower. The last 3 pages, we see that Harry Osborn begins the process of trying to free Lily Hollister and handle the situation that she has with Norman Osborn. Either way, we see the Dark Avengers having a meeting, and we see Spider-Man being there, but of course pretending to be Venom, thanks to Reed Richards' Venom suit in a way. Of course, you can tell that Dakin knows that this is not Venom thanks to his sense of smell, but doesn't make a move at this moment. At the end of chapter 2, you have Norman Osborn announce about his son joining the Dark Avengers. So with Spider-Man being there pretending to be Venom in this Dark Avengers meeting, well, he now gets the chance to see what Norman Osborn is planning to do to Harry Osborn. It is to give him a form of power armor so he can be used as an icon, being the heart of America and being the heart of the Dark Avengers. Now we learn that there were test runs on other people to make sure the suit worked, to the point they were heavily mutated into creatures. Now there is a moment where you have Spider-Man almost blow his cover when one of the mutated monsters almost attack Norman Osborn, and Spider-Man saves him. We know that Venom would not done that. Now getting back to Harry, we see him being able to get to the restricted levels, avoid guards like he is some kind of super spy, and was able to get into the room Lily Hollister is being held at. This is the moment you have Harry explaining that he is going to try to find the cure that will cure the goblin serum that is in Lily that turns her into Menace. He tells Lily that he knows his father, that his father would not have the cure of the goblin serum for no reason, that he knows his dad is keeping it around just in case he needs to get rid of Lily Hollister for some strange reason. Now she is scared that something will happen to Harry, but he confirms that he can do it. Getting back to Spider-Man, we still see him pretending to be Venom, and it seems like everyone still believes that it is Matt Gargan in the Venom suit, except when Norman Osborn put Venom on guard duty, he actually goes upstairs to be put on guard duty. But when he gets upstairs, well, he is greeted by Dakin. Remember that Dakin knows that this is not Venom thanks to his sense of smell. So you have Wolverine and Spider-Man begin to fight against each other, where this fight is really kind of long, and we see that there are moments the two of them are pretty equal in fighting until we see Spider-Man being able to come out on top of the battle. Now after they are done fighting, you have Harry Osborn appear. Remember, he was sneaking around to see Lily, but to also find the Goblin Serum cure, which you have Spider-Man tell Harry that he is pretending to be Venom to save Harry, which makes Harry upset, because to him, what right does Spider-Man have to keep trying to dictate his life? Harry has no idea that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That is when Norman Osborn and the rest of the Dark Avengers appear, wondering what is going on. You have Spider-Man still keeping up the idea that he is Venom, except Harry tells Norman the truth, that this is the real Spider-Man, so that Norman Osborn doesn't get rid of Harry, which you have the Dark Avengers basically take down Spider-Man by shooting him in the head and about to make him their hostage. So we see that some time has passed by, and Harry is thinking about what just happened, that he wonders if this is going too far now. But while he is thinking that, you have Norman Osborn appear to continue the idea that he is proud of his son, and then he finally tells his son about the American Son armor, how he wants Harry to join the Dark Avengers and be the Captain America of the team. With him wearing that suit, it will make him be that. And he finally gives Harry access to restricted floors. That does give Harry Osborn the chance to see Lily more freely now. Now we get to see Norman Osborn and Bullseye begin to torture Spider-Man, trying to see why he's here for. They know he is here for Harry Osborn, but what is so important about Harry to Spider-Man? Of course, Norman Osborn is very amazed by the Venom suit tech Spider-Man is wearing thanks to Reed Richards. Now this leads into the big moment, because where we thought we knew everything about Norman's plan in this book, there is more to the story when it revolves around the character of Lily Hollister. Well, we're about to learn a messy thing about this book. When I say messed up, I mean this is worse than Sins Past or Past Sin storyline. I always forget how it goes. I think it's Past Sin or Sins Past. Either way, this is worse than that storyline right there. So we get two scenes happening at the same time. One where Spider-Man is still being tortured by Bullseye and Norman Osborn. At the same time, we see Harry Osborn meeting up with Lily Hollister, where he thinks he is about to give her the Goblin Serum cure, except that is when she turns into Menace again. I honestly did not see this coming, but she was working with Norman to bring in Harry to make him help Norman. She reveals that the baby is not even Harry Osborn. She reveals that the baby is actually Norman's baby. Now, this is when my Spider-Man history gets a little murky, because I don't remember when it was changed to actually be Harry Osborn baby. For now though, she tells Harry that the baby belongs to Norman Osborn. This is some messed up stuff. So of course, this leads into Spider-Man actually breaking out of his binds and beginning to fight against Bullseye and Norman Osborn at the same time. You have Harry Osborn escaping from Lily before she tries to kill him. So then we get this quick shift in the character of Harry, where at first it is him trying to get out of there before he gets killed, to seeing Spider-Man getting his butt kicked, knowing that Spider-Man borderline is dying right now, and it's all because of him. So right when it seems that Spider-Man is about to be killed by Norman Osborn, we see someone hitting Norman Osborn in the back, letting us know it is Harry Osborn. But we see that it is him putting on the American Son armor that Norman Osborn made for Harry to use with the Dark Avengers, except Harry is going to use it against Norman Osborn. Now part 5 is pretty easy to cover. The first half of this chapter is just Norman Osborn fighting against Harry Osborn, American Son vs. Iron Patriot. This is a family battle, including Spider-Man being there too. Now Spider-Man and Harry Osborn don't really bond here, but it is Harry telling Spider-Man that he made his armor hide the view of Peter Parker's face because his mask had fallen off. Either way, this fight is brutal. This is something that has been built up for years between the Osborns, to the point you have Harry Osborn being able to send Norman Osborn flying through the wall and in the middle of a park. Armors are being torn off and everything is being thrown at one another. Then we get a weird moment where we see Menace come to Norman Osborn's side to see if he is okay since he's getting his butt kicked. They're about to have a baby together, but that gets put to the side so we can continue the battle between Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn. Like I said earlier, this fight has been coming for a long time, and we see Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn battle get bloody, except of course it does reach a point where you do get a winner. That winner is Harry Osborn, who is thinking about killing off Norman Osborn. This man had caused so much damage to everyone's lives that it seems like the right thing to do. There is a point where you have Spider-Man come to Harry's side and talk Harry out of killing Norman Osborn. He does it in a way where at first it seems that Peter Parker is telling Harry to go ahead and kill Norman Osborn off. If you plan on killing him, aim for the neck. It is the best way to get rid of someone. Just hitting him in the head will recover. Basically, cutting the man's head off is what Spider-Man is saying, except he tells Harry that if he does this, that he will be just like his father, to the point where Harry realized what Spider-Man is trying to do. So you have Harry just take the armor off and leaves, knowing that he will never be like his father. So after that, you have the book closed on Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson Sr. checking up on Harry to make sure that he is okay in the hospital. After that day, we then see Harry Osborn go to a doctor for a checkup and try to find a cure for the compound that was injected by Norman earlier in our video. To close on this sick joke, we see Lily holding out her belly towards Norman Osborn, and he is talking to the baby through the stomach, claiming that he only has one son now. It is the baby of Lily. This book was wild. But this is the end of today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.